Good morning. Good morning. I don't know how much you can hear me, but because I have a mask on, but like, first of all, we're out here. My feet hurt so bad from working out yesterday. Clover, just give me 1 second, okay? And we're out here. We're out here doing the ball. He loves the ball. Here he comes. Yeah. So, this is how I can get out of a dog walk and he can get his exercise. Okay, my goodness. And he can get his exercise in. Okay. Ready, friend? Ready? Oh my God, he's like such a rock star with this, but he's totally obsessed. Totally, aren't you? Yeah, okay. Whew. This long line's probably about like, I don't know, like 50 feet, I don't know how long this is, 30 feet, 25 feet, I don't know. But it's long enough to where he can, get a good run in, but also short enough so that I can reel him back in if anything crazy happens, which it has. Like there's been some dogs off leash around here just come him out. Clover, he's very pushy. See? He likes to sit and behave just in case I'm asking for him to be polite. Clover, can you be quiet, please? Quiet. No, quiet. Quiet. Good, quiet. Okay, ready? Oh, it's over there. He knows what quiet means. But he's just, he's excited. I'll give him a pass. So I guess it's Vlogmas Day 3 or 4. Well, it's kind of, today I'm not posting a Vlogmas video because I'm live, and I think that'll like cannibalize my whole channel. So I'll be posting today's video tomorrow, so I'll be one day ahead, which is great. But I thought I would show you what we spend our mornings doing during quarantine. Is that right? Yeah? We just do the ball. All right, I'll get back to it. Okay, so see you guys later.
For Vlogmas Day 4, I just wanted to sit down and talk with you very honestly about something I've been noticing both on my channel and both in the general conversation about mental health in general, and that is optimism and toxic positivity. From what I understand, toxic positivity is a kind of over enthusiastic positivity in which someone also maybe will not acknowledge someone if they've had a bad day. They're like, oh, cheer up, it'll be okay, kind of thing. Or look on the bright side, just not allowing people to have a range of emotions, which is completely natural. And I've also noticed that there are comments on my channel a lot that I seem very positive and optimistic. So I just want to talk a little bit about where some of that comes from. I think there are more positive people online than maybe you realize, but it doesn't get as many views because of negative bias. I myself am guilty of watching, gossip videos and, videos sort of that are about negative things before I will click on something positive. It's just a human thing. But I want to talk a little bit about why I seem so positive and where that comes from. I want to put a disclaimer in this video that I have come from I guess a fairly privileged background. I grew up in the United States with very well-off parents who were very hardworking and allowed me to do anything that I wanted to do in life. And also that my mental health challenges in life have been, in my opinion, relatively mild. I did suffer with some situational depression a few times in my life, but for the most part, I've been able to work through a lot of those issues with therapy, which I've been very lucky to have access to. However, maybe my experiences will be able to help you and maybe better understand how I changed my mindset so that I can be more optimistic and more positive, but not in a toxic way. So like I said, I had a very happy childhood. I'm an only child. My parents were both medical professionals, and they were very hardworking. And I admired them. I thought they were superheroes. I was like, I'll never measure up to that, which is a whole other thing about imposter syndrome, which I also struggle with. I've talked about it in a couple other videos. I am currently still working on it, but it is a thing. But along with, being a happy child and being, somebody who was, I guess, very lucky, I was also a very anxious child as well. And I found that, a lot of my friends when I was younger had a mindset of a more invincible place. Like, I don't think they ever thought about getting hurt or having accidents, but that was something that I constantly thought about. It was something that I constantly was afraid of happening, because when I watched the news on television late at night, I would pretty much take in a lot of those stories as things that could happen to me, which is realistic, but it's not to the degree of, which is a realistic thought, I suppose, but I internalized these experiences and these stories that happen in the news so much. And I just felt like there was a target on my back all the time. Especially since we lived in the DC area, there's a lot of news that is very frightening to a younger child. And then when we lived in Germany, there was a lot of news that was frightening to a younger child involving, if you lived in Germany or Europe in the 80s, you know about this. If you were an American, you had to check under your car for explosives, is that kind of thing. So I sort of took those stories on the news as something that could easily happen to me. So I always felt very vulnerable and anxious when I would go out, when I would ride planes, when I would get in cars, when I would, just be out and about. And not saying that I didn't take risks. Of course I did. I climbed trees. I, let bugs sting me. I did all kinds of, childhood sort of things. But in the back of my mind, I also had these anxious thoughts about stuff ending the whole experience, because I wasn't ready. I hadn't lived enough life. I hadn't met enough people. I hadn't done enough things. So I was always anxious that was going to be taken away from me. My parents can attest to this. They were like, you were very anxious and scared about everything happening to you. I don't know what was the matter, but it was a whole thing. So as I got older, I fell into this very melancholy place, especially when I was a teenager. Of course, I think we all go through a very dark teenage period, but it continued up until I was in my mid-20s. And I kind of look at some of my old diaries. I've kept a diary ever since I was about 7 years old, which is quite special. I think I can have memories of my thoughts from age 7 to age 26 or whatever, and I stopped keeping these journals. But they're filled with very negative self-talk and dark things. The older I got, the more things started happening that were, just regular life things, but were sad. That made me sad. Deaths in the family members diagnosed with scary diagnoses, losing pets. But a really significant thing in my life that occurred, and this may seem really silly, but it was very significant, was I had a really bad accident. I fell from a horse when I was 30, and I had a really nasty comminuted fracture of my ankle. I think this is a term, bones weren't sticking out, but it was fractured in many, many places, and they had to do emergency surgery, and it was the most pain I've ever felt in my entire life. They pumped me up with morphine, and then after the emergency surgery the next morning, they were pumping me with Dilaudid, which is apparently a very strong drug to control pain. So that bar of pain level, everything in comparison to that's happened since then is nothing compares. So it, in a good way, it raised my pain tolerance. But after that incident, I was unable to walk for 10 weeks, and it put me in a very sad place. I watched a tree get leaves for an entire season while I was convalescing, because it was springtime and I wasn't really able to walk until midsummer. And after that, it took me a good deal of time to walk normally. After I was able to walk normally and run and work out again, I was like, wow, I am so fortunate that I was able to have surgery and to feel better and can walk again. I'm so lucky that happened. That sucked, but oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful for every day that I can put my foot down on the earth and it works. So I started to to turn my mindset around after that, I was like, well, I would wake up every day and I'm like, I don't have a broken ankle today. It's pretty good. It's great. And I began to experience that in different ways as well. Like, I woke up today and my mother doesn't have breast cancer today. I woke up today and I didn't have a headache that I did yesterday. Oh, it's a great day. I feel so much better. And I just began to not only appreciate the times when I was not feeling pain or going through something very emotional, but I just felt good in the morning that I was able to wake up and do stuff. And after that, after I started feeling good about waking up and doing stuff, I was like, well, I still in the back of my mind had this anxiety about the finality of life and sense of my own mortality. And I started to become very anxious about the time. And I was like, well, if I only have a finite amount of time, I want to make sure that I take advantage of the time that I'm healthy, the time that my family members are okay and friends are okay, and then I'm able to do things. So when I started to turn my mind around to that mindset, I started my own business. I changed to spouses. It was more of a transition, but and I dropped friends who were toxic from my life. I got a dog. I did all the things that I wanted to do because I realized that life is so finite and so short, and losing people who I didn't have enough time to spend with really made me conscious of the finality and just shortness of your time on earth. And I just decided at that point that I was grateful for every day. And in that mindset, I became much more optimistic about life because I've lived through some really crazy stuff that I thought that I would never be able to get through, where I was feeling sad, I was feeling scared, I was feeling angry, and I came out on the other side and I got through it. And I think that the difference between somebody who is exhibiting traits of toxic positivity and someone who is generally a genuine optimist is that you realize, if you're a genuine optimist, that things in life totally suck. This year sucks. Some people suck. The world a little bit in general sucks. But from my experiences, I do think that there is more good in the world than there is bad. And I do want to generally assume the good in people and find the good in people. And I just want to appreciate the time that I have here and make the most of every day. So that is why I seem very positive. I don't come on camera when I'm angry usually, or when I'm sad, or when I am frustrated. Those are emotions that I experience 100% just as much as everyone else. But I don't not feel those feelings. And for a while I wasn't feeling those feelings. I was trying to stuff them down or like work through them, not work through them, but like, I was feeling angry, I would actually go and do work and try to like get through it and stuff it down. I don't do that anymore. I actually do feel the feelings. But I think that is why I look very positive and seem very positive. And I just wanted to say that. I don't think that it's easy for everybody to get to that place, especially if you are suffering with a clinical depression, bipolar disorder, or any kind of mood disorders that are going to be very crippling to you, and you may need mitigation with either medication, therapy, or just, really somebody to talk to, anybody to talk to about your experiences and your feelings. My main focus for this video is to say that not all positivity is toxic positivity, and that some people are genuinely optimistic and still experience a range of emotions and feelings, and it's normal and fine. I think there is like a whole backlash against like the hustle culture that was popularized, you know, maybe a few years ago, and that it's something that is very strong in the community of entrepreneurship. And, you know, I feel like some of it is very helpful and some of it can be quite unhelpful. I am someone who in general likes to be somewhere in the middle and see a lot of the nuance in every situation. And I think that if there is something that you don't like about something that someone's saying, that you don't have to completely comply with it. So I think there are some really helpful things in hustle culture, for especially for entrepreneurs or people who are making their own business. And there are some things that I'm just like, whatever, you know? So I encourage you, and maybe this is part of my whole optimism thing, is to see more nuance in the world, because the world is full of nuance, like, and that's the end. It wouldn't be a video if we didn't see Clover sleeping underneath something. He's got like this whole sleeping underneath the plant thing on lockdown. Hey buddy, is this where you're gonna have your afternoon nap? He is so tired out from playing the ball, so he's like, I'm gonna sleep here. Oh, I said the B word, so he opened his eye really wide. You're okay, we're not doing that anymore. For the next few hours anyway. All right, so that's the video. I'm not even 100% sure whether I'm going to upload it or not, because it just feels like the kind of video that I could get in trouble for or something, but you know, we'll see. So I hope you guys are having a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.